I've been training for just under 21 years. I've built my physique from a skinny 130-pound teenager to a 215-pound bodybuilder. And in that time, I tried every routine. I tried every diet and every training method. I mean, no exaggeration. Everything. At this point in my life, I don't know if that's a flex or something I should be embarrassed about. But you name it, I've done it. And in that time, I've gone from the basics, ventured off into more advanced methods, and I kept going until I went off the deep end in a sea of excessive training methods. And as I continued to build my physique over time, eventually I circled back to the basics. Now with more knowledge, more experience, and most importantly, more time spent in the trenches. And in that time, I learned more than I'll ever need to know about getting bigger and stronger. And with that said, at this point, if I had to suddenly hit the restart button and start back off from square one, this is what I would do to get back to my size now as quickly as possible. One, the first thing I would do is simplify everything. I'd train no more than 5 days per week as a hard rule. I'd pick no more than 3 to 4 exercises per body part that I would focus on at any given time. I'd rotate exercises in and out as needed, however. I'd pair body parts together that allowed for a high quality of work each training session. I wouldn't stack tons of intense work into one single session, or too many body parts together to where the ones I'd train later in the session would suffer. I'd pick exercises that felt good for my body, and I'd pick a rep range that was suitable for that exercise. And now here's the key. Once I set all that up, I wouldn't change a thing. I'd attack every session as hard as I could. I'd track everything from that workout, the exact sets and reps I performed. And every session I repeated, I'd look at the logbook. I'd have a goal to beat whatever I did in the previous workout to some capacity. That could be adding more weight to the bar, performing more reps with the same weight, keeping both the same weight and the reps, but perfecting my technique. But here's the key. I would never force progression without standardized technique. Progression is key. But the only progression I care about is doing more with the same or better technique. In addition to that, I'd eat, and I'd sleep, and sleep. Now the truth is, I only listed a few very general guidelines here, but if I executed on just these things with 100% consistency, from day 1 to let's say year 5, without getting distracted and changing routines, without losing motivation and taking time off, if I had just executed day in and day out from day 1, and I took my emotions completely out of the plan, I completely trusted in the process, I guarantee that I'd reach my physique goals, my current physique, at year 20 of lifting, and maybe just 5 years of training if I trained the way I just talked about. And in my opinion, the reason more people aren't seeing this type of progress is simple. They're jumping from one program to the next. And an even bigger one that you probably struggle with is you think that there's a better program out there, one that's gonna get you better, faster results. And now that might be true if you're following a program that lacks all the basics and all the foundational key things about bodybuilding. I'm talking about intensity, consistency, and effort. But that's why we simplify things in training. We're here to focus on the things that work. And then once we have all those things in place, don't change them. Keep riding them out, even if it gets hard, even if it gets boring. If you're following a basic training plan, one with adequate volume, frequency, and intensity, I promise you, there's not gonna be a magical training plan that's gonna get you even better results than that. But likely what you might find is a program that looks cool on paper. It might have tons of different methods, all the fancy bells and whistles. To you, it's gonna look advanced. But the truth is, the most advanced, the most effective, and the most productive methods of training are all rooted in the basics. They just need to be altered and adapted to fit your needs when you become an advanced lifter. And if you want to get yourself from beginner to intermediate to advanced as quickly as possible, simplify your training. Then train harder. Train more consistently than anyone in the gym. And most importantly, don't abandon your original approach for shiny object syndrome. And if you do all that, you'll be the big guy in the gym that everyone comes up to for advice. And if you need a place to start, you can grab one of my old school mass game programs down below. And as always, if you want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.